So I haven't posted a video in about 4 or 5 months, and in that time, I've actually gone to the dark side and learned JavaScript. I'm back to show us no coders what we can learn from the coding world and how we can leverage what's called web components and use them in a no code way inside of the custom code block in Softr.
No code is the best in the whole wide world. No code, oh yeah, yeah. No, 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 no code.
So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jamie and I'm the founder of NoCode.ie. I teach and train people how to build things using no-code tools. I've posted a series of no-code tutorials on my channel here, and all of the tutorials have accompanying resources which are saved and freely available in the NoCode.ie community. Link to access the community is in the description of the video below. If you do like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and click that like button. It really does motivate me to continue doing what I'm doing here and making content like this. So in an earlier video, I did up a tutorial on how us no coders could build a workaround for an action button, and an action button was very useful for doing things like saving things to a list, adding things to a cart, favoriting things, liking things, making bookings and things like that. In the meantime, I've had a look at how could I possibly use the custom code block to achieve a more fluent version of a saved list, and how could I integrate it with existing list blocks in the Softr ecosystem. So I'm inside the Softr studio. Anybody who already uses Softr will be very familiar with this. Anybody who's not, well, don't worry. It's a very intuitive interface. And even as I'm just working through this here, you'll probably learn how to use Softr straight off the bat. So what I have here is basically a header block and then just a standard list block here. On the list block, I have it hooked up to my Airtable, and it's pulling in from a movie database table that I have here. And it's mapped to only 3 fields showing: an image field, a title field, and then there's a button field in here, which is going to integrate with our custom code block that I'll add in a second, and I'll show you how to do that. So if I just click here and go add block, and if I come down and I choose the custom code block here, if I just add that block to the page, and I'm going to expand the custom code block here, and you'll see it just has a small bit of standard HTML in here, which I'm going to delete out, and I'm going to paste in the custom web component HTML element, which will go here. You'll be able to get a copy of this element in the resources section of the community, and you'll be able to just copy and paste it in the same way as I've done here. And so if we minimize that and hit publish now, and we'll have a quick look at our site. So we'll come over here and we'll just refresh it to make sure it's got the updates that we've just put through. You'll see this is our standard list block displaying all of the movies from our list table inside of Airtable. Now what I'm hoping to see is when I click save, it creates a saved list down here. And on clicking that, it's changed the button to remove. And you'll see that the page didn't even need to refresh there. And if I add Dumb and Dumber, it's added that down below. And so I can hit remove and it takes it out of the list. And if I hit see more and I add the other guys. And so you can think of lots of different use cases for this. This could be a jobs listing that people want to save certain jobs that they're interested in. This could be a listing of products and people are adding the products into a cart. This could be any number of things really. And it's just, I've seen a lot of different projects that I've worked with people on over the last few months, where just having this functionality of being able to store things in a list somewhere that's favorited or liked is a very common functionality that comes up in all sorts of cases. And so what's great about this custom code block as well is that because it's just a HTML snippet that we had to paste into the custom code block in here, we can actually put that snippet anywhere else on our website and it will display the same data. So that's the beauty of web components, is that they're what's called interoperable. So they can basically slot into any project, no matter how it's built, whether it's built in Softr, whether it's built in React, whether it's built in Webflow, whether it's built in anything really, as long as it accepts HTML, you can put your web component in there. So just to give you an example of that, if we go across to this favorites page here, well, it's got our favorite block only on this page, and you'll see our list block is gone from here. And it's saved the right data. It's showing us the 2 films that have been saved. And if we remove one of the films from there, when we go back to the movies listing, you'd expect to still be able to see the other guys as having a save button, which is what it's showing us here. It's very fluent, doesn't need a refresh, very responsive, very quick. It's all in web components, so it uses basic HTML, vanilla JavaScript and CSS in the background, but you don't need to know really any of that. You just need to know our use case is no coders, which is where do we put it in our no code app and what's the best way to use it. So there's a more detailed description in the resources section of the community as to how to actually implement this, but effectively it's as simple as that, pasting it in here. I'll just show you one other thing that's quite nice about it is sometimes you might not want to have a remove button, or you might want slightly different interactions or behaviors to happen here. And so this particular web component has been created with 4 different behaviors so far, and it's very easy to add new ones, you know. So for example, if you just wanted to show a message, you would just change this attribute here, which is called the onSave attribute, and you would go show message, and then you key in the message here, and we'll just say saved, okay? And so what I'm going to do now is hit publish. And so if I just refresh the app here, and now when I add any of the cards to my saved list block, I'd expect to see a message just saying saved up here, as opposed to seeing a remove button. And I shouldn't be able to click that to remove it from up here. So if we try that on Davehard, you'll see down here, Diehard has been added, and I can remove it from down here. And if I add Dumb and Dumber, you can see I can't remove it by clicking up here, or the Outpost, and I can't remove that by clicking up here, whereas I can remove it from down here. And then I'll just show you one last one. If we come in here, I think you can, change the attribute here, and it'll actually make the whole card from the original list disappear. So what I'll do is first, if I just come in here and reset this, because we'll just get that ready to nil. So anyway, if I come in here and I'll just click, I think I just changed the attribute, the hide save, or the onsave attribute here to hide card. And if I come back, hit publish, and then I will refresh this page one more time to make sure those published changes go through. And so this time when I add the card to the list, I'm hoping that this card up here will disappear. And so that seems to be what's happening. So we can add the 3 of them here. And then when I restore from down here, it's back up here. And so what we might do next is we'll just start from a blank canvas. I'm going to show you one of the most popular web component libraries that makes it really easy for us no coders to start bringing in small elements or full custom components into our apps in a very similar way to what I've just showed you here. And we'll just see what we can build over the next sort of 2 or 3 minutes, just to show you how easy it is, but also how to get started reading the documentation. And so you can see as a no coder what are the most important pieces to follow along with. Just like reading an API documentation, web components all come with generally with detailed documentation that helps you understand what attributes you can change, just like we changed in the last example, so that you get a different behavior or a different appearance. And you know what else you can do with the component to customize it to your needs. So this is a completely empty project. There's nothing in it at the moment other than this header. And what we might do is add our first custom code block here. And if we come down, custom code, and add that into the page, again, all I'm going to do here is delete out the HTML as a starting point. And I tend to just always hit publish after any edit that I make. It's just habit. I don't know what way you do it. And so we're going to open up what's called shoelace.style, and we're going to come here. So this is a web component library, and what's great about this is it's really easy to use, and the components look really, really cool. So what we might try to do is, first of all, the first thing you do with any web component library is you need to bring in generally 2 lines of code that needs to go into the header of your app. And what this code does is basically it gives you access to start using any of the custom HTML elements inside of your app, because they're now available to your app by virtue of these 2 lines being in the beginning. So I'm just going to copy those and I'll show you exactly where they go in. You come into settings here and come down to custom code. And if you drop them into the header part, and we'll just hit save, and then we'll hit publish. Okay, so the app should still do nothing at the moment. What is the web address? So web components.softr.app will go there. Components.softr.app. We're going to go there. And so you'll see it's just a blank project at the moment. And then if we come into Shoelace, usually where I would jump down to is if you scroll down here on the left and you're looking for components. So this is basically the list of all of the different components that you can use inside of your project. So here's a card, for example, and that's the HTML tag to use for this type of card. You know, you can come down further and you can find all sorts of different things. We might try and implement this drawer here over the next few minutes, and we'll see how that goes. So if we come down here, what I'm looking for is, well, let's just see what it does. So it brings in a drawer here from the left-hand side of the page. And so let's just see if we want it to come in from maybe the right-hand side. I don't know if it has that somewhere. So slide in from start, no, draws. Let's see what this one does. Okay, there it is from the right-hand side. So we will try this. And so what you do is if you just click on source here, it gives you all of the code that you'll need, and you just simply click copy here. And so if we come to our app here, and no, that's the actual app itself. Sorry, if we go back to the studio here. And so we're looking for our custom code block. Now remember, this will only work because we've dropped in the shoelace code into the header in this part over here. So it's not to mix up those two. And so if we come here and we've got our code block, and if I just paste that in there, and that's all we'll need to do for the time being. And I'm just going to hit publish. And now when we go to our app and hit refresh, you will see we've got our open drawer button, just like what we saw here on the web component website. And if we click that, it brings in a nice drawer. You see it's got this dummy lorem ipsum type text, and it's got a nice button here. Now, all of this is fully customizable. And, you know, I suppose what we might try out here, I haven't tried this before, but it might work. We might try, obviously, Softr allows the blocks to be embedded. And so maybe we'll try and embed that movie list block in here to see, does that work? Because that might be quite a cool feature to build into an app. And so if we close that for the time being, so if we come back in here, but we're looking for this lorem ipsum text. So you can see there's the lorem ipsum text. And so this is what we're going to replace with our embed code. And we'll see, does that work? So I'll delete that out. Go here. And if I just jump back into the, actually, do you know what? I'll just set up a new list block on this page. So add new page. If we just go movie list, okay. If we hit save, if we come in here, and all we're going to add here is basically a list block. So if we go list, and we'll just choose this one here to be similar to the other thing. So data source, we're going to go with Airtable. Airtable base, we're going to go with a movie jam tutorial. And then we're going to choose the movies table here. And if we go to features, image, we're going to point to the image field. Heading, we're going to point to the title, or sorry, name field, I think it is. Name field. And then text, we'll just look for storyline. All right. So that's what our list block looks like at the moment. And if I hit publish just to get those saves in, and if you come down here in the features section of the editing card for any of your blocks, there's this copy embed code. So I'm going to copy that. And then if I come back to the home page, and if we click on this here and open this up, and this is where the lorem ipsum text was. So I'm going to drop that in there. I don't know if this is going to work. It might not work with responsive issues and things like that, but let's come back to our page here and refresh it. And so if we open our drawer, okay, that looks pretty good. So it's embedded our list block inside of the drawer, and obviously if we click close, it's gone away. So that's one quite cool, unique thing to whip up using a drawer from the shoelace.design component library. And then we've actually already integrated it with our Softr app by embedding a list block used from Softr. So there's lots of really cool things on here, and you can browse all of the different components. There's a few really cool ones in here. I really like this split panel one, for example. You can really do a few cool use cases in here. And if you just scroll down, I didn't really show you this on the last one, but if you scroll down, you've really got your instruction manual for every component on the actual component page here. And you can come down, and the main section is this properties section, and it lets you, it tells you which parts of the HTML code from up above here that we've just copied that are customizable. So you can change all of these different things. And I'm actually going to do a future video just purely on that alone, just to show you in a bit more detail how to start working with these from a no coder's perspective. Um, the other thing I might show in a future video is, what's great about these web components is it's makes it really easy to actually customize templates or to make custom blocks for Softr. So for example, this is a list details custom block. Now it's not the most spectacular thing, but it just shows you, you know, if you find a HTML segment on any web page that you like the look of, you can basically reproduce it inside of your Softr app, and you can also map all of your Airtable data dynamically to it. So I'm going to do another episode just purely on that. Similarly, if you have a particular preference for a style of list, obviously Software has some really nice looking lists right out of the block. So a lot of the time you won't even need to do this. But again, it just shows you another aspect of using the custom code block in a no code friendly way, whereby you can simply find a list block that you like the look of. And again, I'll go through the steps of how to actually create that and how to feed the data dynamically into it. I mean, if you come into Shoelace itself, you'll see here that I think, well, they have their own card that we saw earlier. And so it's really quite easy actually to make a list block that contains this card as the repeating item on the block. And you can see here, it's got this really nice responsive looking rating thing. And so it's possible to integrate all of this with Software, and there by conjunction with your Airtable backend or with your Google Sheet backend. So, a lot to come here. I mean, if there is a specific layout, list details, or list block that you would really like to see, I'd love to hear about it below. I'm always looking for inspiration for things to build, and I might draw on some of those comments and maybe include those as examples in future videos. So yeah, there's a lot on. I have a lot of future content planned, not only around this, but also going back to other concepts like APIs and different concepts to let you try to push the boundaries of the no-code game, and in particular with Software, Airtable, Make. They're my three primary tools that I love to talk about on my channel. And yeah, look, really enjoyed this one, and I hope you got something out of today. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel and click that like button. It really does motivate me to keep going. So as always, great to see you guys. Thanks again, and talk to you soon.